Hey all, this is Justin again. More troll tactics still. There's actually not very many troll tactics, major troll tactics. There's several, and I've given fun names to a bunch of them, but they have to keep falling back on the same ones over and over. So we're going to get through these, hit the major ones. You're going to see them all over the place, and we're going to talk about so many other things in these videos. I'm excited. But this troll tactic, this third one, I call the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone is when someone comes to a totally alternate version of reality based on false assumptions. And it's a troll tactic when people do it on purpose or when they do it to evade actually talking about something. Now, if you have a faulty assumption about reality, there's nothing wrong with that. We all make mistakes. But I'm saying when someone's saying something that you don't like, threatens you, makes you uncomfortable, which is pretty much always what causes trolling, when someone's emotionally uncomfortable for whatever reason, so many reasons. And so instead of actually look at what reason's saying, or try to work something out and say, well, I kind of think this, well, so therefore that, no, trying to work the reason, no. You lash out with a tactic, and so with this one you make a faulty assumption that you hope no one's going to see, in order to come to what looks like a solid conclusion. The Twilight Zone. Totally different version of reality that is based on nothing. Faulty assumptions. They hope no one's going to look at your faulty assumptions. An example, okay, suppose I draw a triangle. Boom, 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 triangle. 3 sides, 3 corners. I'm proud of my triangle. Someone comes along and says, that's not a triangle, it's not even orange. I'm sorry, I didn't know that triangles had to be orange in order to be triangles. That's a very goofy, obvious example of where someone's using the Twilight Zone, trying to say, be very authoritative. That's not a triangle, because they made an assumption that they're hoping they're not going to see. And that's when it's a tactic. When you hope no one's going to see your assumption, you hope people are going to think your argument's valid, when you made an assumption that you hope no one's going to notice. aLBoP example. Okay, now, third troll tactic in a row where I'm talking about Harry Potter. I'm not doing that on purpose, but this is one that happens all the time on aLBoP. Harry Potter. And the collage for the INFJ post, we have Harry Potter right there. Now, people freak out. Sometimes they disagree nicely. Sometimes they really freak out. But people oftentimes freak out about some of the people we choose to type in various different ones. Well, this person's actually that type, or that person's actually this type. And I'm trying not to get sidetracked here in this video about how often that's the lawyer in action. People zoom in on one thing a person does out of context and say, well, this is very classically ENFJ, therefore this person's an ENFJ. Okay, that might look like a stereotype version of ENFJ in that one instance. Let's take a step back. What is the whole person? How do they cognate in a non-stereotype, non-personified way? But I'm not talking about the lawyer right now. That was my little nod to that. Moving on. Twilight Zone. People take issue with a lot of Khaleesi's typings, as you can see on the blog, where she talks about that. What do all these letters mean anyway? Why are all your typings wrong? Good posts. But Harry Potter. Oh, people seem to take issue with Harry Potter a lot. There's one forum we were looking at the other day where people were really going wild about, oh my gosh, I can't believe how anyone could possibly think Harry Potter's an INFJ. What are they thinking? Oh my gosh. And all her typings are wrong again. People saying that again. Anyway, actually, these people thought Khaleesi was a dude. All his typings are wrong. So, I hope I'm presenting this argument well. But one of the main arguments I've seen about Harry Potter is that he's an ISFP. And I'm not kidding. Some of the main reasons I've seen for that so far, maybe there are other ones, the reason I've seen for that is that he's an S because he's good at Quidditch. Okay. And he's a P because he likes to improvise, and he's not all hardcore about schoolwork the way Hermione is, and that kind of thing. He's not all anal like Hermione, therefore he's not a J, he's a P. Wow. Those are stereotyped, inaccurate, unscientific, and kind of harmful definitions of S, P, J, all of that. And so, no, as Khaleesi talks about, that's not what S means. And so anyway, they're using a faulty definition of S and P. And so what? They have a different understanding of the letters? Fine. It becomes a tactic. It becomes a tactic, not just a disagreement or mistake. It becomes a tactic when they fall back on that and hope no one's going to see that they made an assumption back there what S and P mean, and say, no, you're totally wrong, this is what it is, you can't even argue with it. You made a faulty assumption back there. So anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked about Harry Potter right now, although I will say, a lot of people seem to have no clue what INFJ is, and as an INFJ myself, and yes I am, that's a little odd. A lot of people seem to think it's kind of like INFP Part 2 or INFP Junior. A lot of poor INFPs think they're INFJs. A lot of INFPs are. People who think they're INFPs are actually INFJs are actually INFJs. A lot of people who think they're INFPs are INFPs. But those get mixed up a lot. And INFJ and INFP are very different. That one letter makes a lot of difference. Anyway, so that's my little soapbox there. A lot of people seem to have no clue what INFJ is. And when I first started reading about INFJ, I was like, back a while ago, I was like, well, that's not me, because it was a faulty description of INFJ. Anyways, little soapbox about INFJ there. Back to the Twilight Zone. The tactic: people fall back on a false assumption like triangles must be orange in order to hide the fact that they don't have a leg to stand on. So you see this a lot where people are shouting past each other. One common way you see the Twilight Zone used is where people will change the definition of a word to something that suits them better. So you just have people shouting past each other, arguing, using different definitions of the same words, and it becomes a tactic. Now, sometimes it's misunderstanding, that's innocent. It becomes a tactic when someone does that kind of intentionally as a coping mechanism. Tactics are coping mechanisms. So yeah, that's the Twilight Zone. See it a lot. Falling back on faulty assumptions in order to twist the argument to make it look like it works when it's really a false version of reality that doesn't stand on anything. And thank you for letting me go off about INFJ. In later videos, I really should go off more. You guys won't mind, but that's not the purpose of these videos. So yeah, see you next time with more troll tactics.